Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com. What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you the third and final deck from the Ancient Guardians, being Yourplaymat, which is the brand new synchro version of the deck regarding polar bears and pretty much mecha armor. So it kind of sounds cool just on the basis. Now before we dive into this, I will say that this is without the deep sea engine, because I think that that is technically not a Ursarctic deck. That is literally like deep sea combo and then whatever else you want to throw into it. This is actually a bit more of a higher level power play build regarding stuff like Gizmecha Orochi and Kaijus as well. With all that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. If this video gets at least 50 likes within the first 24 hours, I will bring you either a test time video or a duel video involving this exact deck. With all of that out of the way, let's dive straight first into the Ursarctic profile. So you start off with triple Ursarctic Mecha. So this is one of your non-tuner beast monsters. So what this one does, they're all high levels. They're like, I think the tuners are 7s and the non-tuners are 8s. Sorry, the other way around. Tuners are 8s and the non-tuners are 7s. So, Mecha is your core card of the non-tuners in my opinion. So during the main phase, quick effect, you contribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand to special summon this card from your hand. You can't special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except monsters with a level, and if this card is special summoned, you get to add a Ursarctic monster from your deck to your hand. So this is your Stratos, this is your Searcher, this is your Go-Getter. Then we play 2 of the Mecha. So Mecha effect, exactly the same, tribute one other level 7 or higher monster, and because they are quick effects during the main phase, you can do these during your opponent's turn, and the only reason you'd want to be doing that is either as a form of disruption, coming more so from the tuners, but just forms of searchers, extenders, and putting a monster on the board early on with decks like this. So one of the combos you can do is like Mecha discard your Gizmecha Orochi. Gizmecha Orochi in the end phase can then bring himself back, and straight away what that gives you the ability to do is, if you want to, is you can make a synchro summon, you can make a XYZ summon if you get the correct level on the board, or you can make a link summon as well before you start locking yourself into only being able to special summon monsters with a level. Now the Mecha, basically, if it is special summoned, you can target one Yourplaymat monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So it's a bit more for, not a grind game, but it's more so once you've already got resources in there. Then the last one of the beast we've got is 2 Mecha. Mecha special summon effect is it lets you special summon a Ursarctic monster from your hand, except itself. So there's a nice little combo that, for example, if you were to go Ursarctic Mecha, send... let's say you send Mecha to the graveyard. You then use its effect to search you out your Mecha. Mecha can then send Orochi to the graveyard and summon itself down, and this will then let you get your Mecha back to the hand. And then if you really wanted to, you could use Mecha to send, and you see what I mean? You're putting resources in the graveyard to put monsters on the board, and if you're doing this during your opponent's turn, you've got the ability to make rank 7 plays, but you also have the ability, once you get into your lower levels, is you can start making synchro summon plays as well. Then, of course, we're going on to the tuners, and these are where they become beast warriors. So we're playing 2 Ursarctic Megapolar. So during the main phase, again, quick effect, tribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand to special summon this card from the hand as well. Can't special summon monsters except monsters with levels for the rest of the turn, and if it is special summoned while you control another Ursarctic monster, very important, target one spell, attract your opponent controls and destroy it. So a lot of people, if you're looking at previous profiles, they're probably going to be like, oh yeah, this one you summon, you search. This one you summon, you pop. Whereas the difference between these two is this one needs to have another Ursarctic monster on the board to trigger its effect. It's not as simple as going, right, okay, during your opponent's turn, summon down Mecha or summon down Megapolar, pop back row. No, you need another Ursarctic in order to trigger that effect as well. I believe it's specifically another Ursarctic monster as well, so it's not just Ursarctic card. Then we've got Mecha. So Mecha is special summon effect is if you control another Ursarctic monster, you can target one face up monster your opponent controls and basically Book a Moon it face down defense. And then the final one we've got is Mega Bills. So if it is special summoned while you try another Yourplaymat, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. Now, obviously you can see where these kind of go, and you've got like MST, you've got DD Crow, and then you've got Book of Moon. But what you got to keep in mind is, yes, they are quick effects because they are during the main phase, and it's either player's turn, which is really kind of cool. But you got to make sure you've got another Ursarctic on the board, and you need to be making sure that the cards you're discarding are going to provide you with additional effects. Now, it's a shame that it says tribute and not discard, because if it's discard, then dangers would be absolutely nuts in this deck. But sadly, it's not. These are your level 8s, and then like I said, the beasts are your level 7s, and the beasts are actually really important. Once we get a little bit further into the deck, I'll show you why that is more important as well. Then because we're playing the Kaiju package, we're playing 2 Gameciel, level 8s, very specific. Godala, another level 8, very specific, because if you're playing Bird Up, you need to get to this card, otherwise you pretty much aren't going to be able to play. But what you do against Bird Up is once they're trying to make that play, that's when you can start bringing out your Ursarctics that are going to be strong enough to beat over the barrier statue, and then you don't really need to worry before you're locked out. We've then got the Comungus. Now, because Comungus is a level 7, it can also be tributed with the effects of your Ursarctics, but it's also another one that gives you the ability for rank 7 plays if you want to, but it also means that you've got to, when you're making your synchro plays, specifically with Polari needs something that has a level difference of 1. So obviously you've got a 7, and then if you've got one of your tuners down, they are an 8. So that gives you more plays going that route as well. And then the final Kaiju we've got is your Thunder King, because again, Thunder King with one of the tuners down, there is a difference of a level 1 because they're 8s and this is 9. Plus it also gives you a boss monster coming from your Kaijus in order to disrupt and pretty much get rid of the Gameciel that you give your opponent. You could also play the Kaiju Waterfront if you wanted to, but again, the idea is these, because they're heavy levels, you can tribute them off and go from there. Now we get on to the other power plays. So these are basically the cards you want to be putting in your graveyard to gain advantage, or they're going to be hitting the board to provide more advantage to you. So we're going with triple Gizmek, the Serpentron, and the reason this is so good is because it's a level 8, not only does it work with the level 7s, it doesn't give you the synchro plays, because obviously the synchro play is going to be a level 8, but what it does give you the ability for, because they are level 8s, is Ultimate Sulking incredibly easily, and it is great discard fodder, because as soon as you get rid of the Orochi, you've actually got an advantage because it's going to be able to come back from the grave. So what you're discarding is not pretty much just ended and left there, it's able to come back. Now, you are going to be banishing a lot from the top of the deck, so one little couple of tech cards you could put in this if you wanted to is, because you're not relying on normal summons, all of your cards are special summons. You could put in something like a Grenmanju. Just for those odd chances, because we are playing Desires as well, spoiler, if you put a Gren in here, you literally, Gren is your only normal summon of the entire deck, and if you open it, you're going to be able to OTK one swing, because you're going to be using Desires, you're going to be using the Orochis, you've also got your Ursarctics that banish as well, and it pretty much just gives you that one punch ability in the deck. Then we've also got Alpha, the Master of Beast. Now the reason this is good as well is because it combos off making level rank 8 plays as well. It is a level 8, so it can be used as synchro fodder to get into Ultimate Sulking. But on top of that, if you remember, this card actually lets you bounce back Beast, Beast Warriors, and Winged Beast monsters. So if during your opponent's turn what you're doing is you're putting your Ursarctics onto the board because they're either going to lock you out or you want to disrupt them or anything like that, as long as your attack is going to be more, which is going to be easier to do with the Beast because they're all like 700 attack, what you're going to be able to do is you bring down your Alpha. Alpha can then bounce himself back, plus your Mikabills or your Ursarctic Polars or anything like that. And that's then going to give you the ability to bounce back more of your opponent's cards. So it just gives you another form of disruption. It is another kind of cool power play card as well. And there is cards that, the other that I've seen a lot of people play as well is the Melfi Cat. And the reason you do the Melfi Cat is because it lets you search you out a beast during the end phase. So that lets you get to your Alpha. It also lets you get to your Mikatanus, your Mikapolar, and of course the other one as well, your Mikabills. The other card that we play that is pretty much on the same level as Alpha is the Dino Wrestler Pancratops. Now the reason we're playing so many high levels is because all of your Ursarctics want you to be getting rid of your high levels. Whereas Pancratops, because we're ideally maining to go second with this deck, you want to be able to go, cool, special summon Pancratops, quick effect, get rid of a monster or bait out an effect. Special summon down Alpha. And even if you're not using the effects to bounce them back, you special summon down Alphas, you special summon down Pancratopses, even if you put your opponent under Dark Rule or no more, you beat and get rid of all of their monsters, and then you can start bringing the cards back to your hand to protect them so that you've got a follow-up play the next turn should you need it. Then for the generic hand traps, we've got Triple Ash Blossom. Now, because we are mainly going second with this deck, what you can do is you can put in Nibiru's, because again, Nibiru's are higher levels between 7s and 8s and higher, so they can be easy discard fodder or send fodder for your Yourplartics should they become a dead card. And it also pretty much gives you the ability to go, you know what, I'm not even going to try to hope you don't have a follow-up after I Ash Blossom you. I'm not going to try and let you play through multiple negates. I'm literally going to let you do whatever you're going to do. I'm either then going to end up Nibiruing you, I'm going to get into our Dark Ruler no more, and it just kind of gives you that freedom to not worry about, right, should I drop this hand trap now or should I wait? So Ash Blossoms can become your normal summon. I wouldn't go over the top with normal summons because, like you said, with the Ursarctics, you want to be getting rid of your higher level monsters. So that's where something like a playset of Gren comes in, or your Melfi Cats, or another card that I'd considered as well was your Eater of Millions, because it is a level 1. It does kind of give you another monster on the board that should you get your Ursarctic level 8 down, you can then synchro summon it into level 9s like your Crocosaur or anything like that. Moving on to the spells, we're playing triple Yourplartic Slider. You could probably cut this, if you were going to cut either Slider or Departure down to 2, I'd probably cut the Yourplartic Slider down to 2. But either way, this one targets one of your Ursarctic monsters that is banished or in the grave and special summon it, but it can't attack and you destroy it during the end phase. So you want to be using it as synchro summon material. It also lets you bring back your synchro monsters from the grave as well. So that's kind of cool on top of that. And you can't special summon monsters from at all if they don't have a level. So that's why we've tried to go with a minimal rank engine, and we've gone with no link monsters at all, just to make it easier for you. Triple Departure. Departure, you could argue back and forth to play at 2 or 1. 2 or 3. It's entirely up to you. I wouldn't see a big issue of putting it down 1, but what I would want to kind of do with having it at 3 is, again, put in the dangers. Because with dangers, what you're doing, you're probably going to be looking at putting in Bigfoot and Thunderbirds, and the way this is going to work is you discard a card, even Nessie as well, you discard a card to add 2 Yourplartic monsters from your deck to your hand, and if you would tribute a monster on monsters to activate an Ursarctic monster's effect, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. Now, it's kind of cool because it gives you plays during your opponent's turn if this is already in the grave, because it's a trigger effect, so it's a when something happens you can do this instead, and that basically allows you to keep your Ursarctic monsters, like you don't need to burn through all your resource. The downside is because it isn't on the same turn it's sent, it can restrict you if you're trying to play a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more fast paced. We've then got double Yourplartic Dipper. Now, you could actually place at 1 if you wanted to. I think 2 is kind of like the ideal one. You don't really want to be opening up. You don't want to be playing Terraforming to search it, because your core plays is to get into your Polari. Polari is then going to search you out your Big Dipper. Now, the Dipper is once per turn, if your Ursarctic monster would tribute a monster or monsters to activate its effect, you get to banish a level 7 or higher Ursarctic monster from your graveyard instead. That would have been better if it was banish a level 7 or higher monster from your graveyard in general, but you play with the Ursarctics, you're still going to be able to work it through that way. And then each time a monster or monsters is special summoned, you get to place a counter on this card. And then once per turn, if a monster or monsters is special summoned and a Ursarctic synchro monster is on the field, you can remove all counters from this card, minimum 7, which is a bit of a high cost. Target one monster your opponent controls. Why has it got a target? And take control of it. It would have been cool if it literally just said, like, paying that 7 token cost is quite high. So it would have been cool if it literally just said, then take control of one of your opponent's monsters. Like, that would have been cool without targeting. We've then got double Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Just the combo between like Dark Ruler No More and then this is really cool. And I think especially when you're playing 5 Kaijus, it does give you that ability to kind of wipe a board and go again. You can cut it down to 1, you can cut it completely if you want to, but I still think that a card like this, even if you don't have Dark Ruler No More, is such a great bait out card that your opponent needs to go, right, okay, I'm probably going to lose my entire board. Especially, like, one of the best combos I love with this is you go Kaiju your opponent's like Omni Negate, whether that be Savage Dragon or Dragoon, and then activate Kaiju Slumber. You've then got 4 more cards to still play around with. When you're looking at your Ursarctics, if you haven't already pre-set up your board using cards like your Gizmic Orochi or anything like that, you still have the ability to build up enough for an OTK, because you'll have the stronger Kaiju. And then if you're bringing out your Ursarctic Synchro monsters, that can then lead you into Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing can then beat over the Kaiju that you've given your opponent for a clear 3k, and then you kind of go from there. We've then got, of course, triple Dark Ruler No More. I just kind of thought with this deck that it's a little bit better to be able to go second and go, all right, know what, I'm not going to worry about it. Droplet's not ideal because I'm discarding a lot of my cards anyway. So a Dark Ruler to pretty much shut my opponent's board down, let me play the game, and then kind of go from there. And then, of course, we've got double Desires. Now, the Desires can be trade-ins if you want, but the reason I've kind of gone with Desires more over trade-ins is because if I was to put the Danger Engine in, I would probably go more for trading, purely because I'm going to get a little bit more off of activating that. The only gamble again with desires is because you're banishing 10 off of desires and 8 off of Orochi every time, you don't want to be constantly playing Orochi. The idea is you're going to resolve this once, you're going to resolve Orochi once, that's it. And that's probably where a Gren becomes even more important, because it's very simple to just go, right, I'm not going to use my normal summon on anything else, normal summon Gren, off I go. Another engine that you could put in here, if you didn't want to play Desires and you didn't want to play like the Dangers or anything like that, is you could put the Golden Castle in here, because the Golden Castle lets you protect all of your monsters, and it also gives you a free level 8 in Hextrude that's going to be able to do double pops. But the issue is, if you are like me and have played the Castle engine, you always open up a Hextrude for some reason. I think it's just like a rite of passage that Hextrude is always in the hand. And that's it for the main deck. Like I said, I've tried to keep it a little bit cheap, and I 100%, as soon as I kept seeing every profile going, oh, the most broken Yourplaymat profile ever. And I went, okay, cool, this might be good. This might be actually pure Yourplaymat or Yourplaymat without a water combo. And it's like, oh, free DC DIVA. I was like, yeah, cool, great, this is going to be fun. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck. Triple Yourplaymat Polari. This is the core card. This is the one that's going to be the hardest for you to get. It's sitting at about £10 now, so I definitely advise picking them up. But it can't be synchro summoned, must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 1 to the graveyard, 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. And if it is special summoned, you get to activate your Ursarctic Dipper directly from your deck, and then you get to tribute a level 7 or higher monster and add to your hand or special summon 1 Ursarctic monster from your graveyard. Only easy effect once per turn. Now, I would have liked the Ursarctic Polari to literally say tribute 1 level 7 or higher monster from your hand or field. That would then kind of sit with the aesthetics of the Ursarctic as well. Core card, very important. I've only obviously got 1, and then the other 2 are proxies for now. Moving on to the other Ursarctics, we're playing 2 Sceptron. Now, again, I love this card. I think this looks the best of all of them, but that's just my personal opinion. Again, can't be synchro summoned, must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 monsters with a level difference of 7 to the graveyard, 1 level 8 or higher tuner and 1 non-tuner synchro monster. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters without a level that was special summoned from the extra deck. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters except during the damage step, you get to add a Ursarctic card from your deck to your hand, only use the effect once per turn. Now again, a lot of misconceptions from the profiles out there is a lot of people just go, oh yeah, this is a skill drain card. No, it's not. It's a skill drain card for cards that don't have levels. So yes, it will stop out synchros, yes, it will stop out link monsters, but it's not going to stop out dragoons, so keep that in mind. And then we've got the 1 Grand Chariot. Again, I think this one looks really cool. It reminds me of Beast Wars. I think it was Beast Wars back in the day, like the Beast version of Transformers. Again, can't be synchro summoned, must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending 2 monsters you control with different levels, with a difference of 7 to the graveyard, a level 8 tuner and a level 8 or higher tuner, and 1 non-tuner synchro monster. If this card is special summoned, you get to target up to 2 other cards on the field and destroy them. And then once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Ursarctic you control, quick effect, trigger 1 monster from your hand or field and negate the activation. Now, it would have been nice if it didn't have to target. It was literally just if your opponent activates a card or effect, would have been played at a bit more, be a little bit more utilised. But sadly it isn't. Most profiles are only playing 1. You could probably bump this up to 2 in this one because you're planning to go second, but I'll show you what you can kind of cut out for that if you do decide to do that. We've then got the 1 Adamantipator Dragite as your level 8 synchro alongside a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend and double Crystal Wing. Now the reason I went with double Crystal Wing is there's a bit of flexibility and space in the extra decks, so it's entirely up to you, but the way I see it is Sulkin, while you control another synchro, can't be targeted for attacks. So if you protect Sulkin, you can just set a card, and then when you're setting a card, you can either bring out a second Crystal Wing, or you bring out a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and Red Dragon Archfiend is then going to be able to go, cool, do attack damage with everything, main phase 2, nuke the board, burn for game, or burn in time. And then of course for your rank 8 engine, very specific that you're going to make this, but I've gone with 1 ding, the Orcus of the Eden Star, just because it's got the protective and it's got the send effect. And then you've got the standard rank 8 package of going into Dragula Bond with your defensive option of your Hope Harbinger or your aggressive option of your Numeron Dragon. It's just nice to have that ability to go, you know what, I'm going to just one-shot you with a 10k and not even worry about trying to overextend or anything like that. Now, yes, because these aren't levels, it's hard to resolve, but the way it kind of works is you get a level 8 tuner onto the board during your opponent's turn, and then during your turn, if you've discarded a Gizmek Orochi or anything like that, you just be able to bring out a Gizmek Orochi. Even if you've discarded that and you bring it out during your opponent's turn, you can then make a rank 8 of Dragulabon, detach a material, or make a rank 8 of Ding, anything like that. But you make a rank 8 of Dragulabon with the Tuna and the Orochi without being locked out because you've dropped the Yourplaymat during your opponent's turn, and then you bring out your Numeron Dragon for the pure OTK. And if you do have the chance of doing this like early doors without locking you, then you do have the ability of going into Hope Harbinger. Or if you don't think you're going to get the OTK by making this, you're always going to be safer trying to build your board around it, then make the Dragulabon to then make the Hope Harbinger. Because again, keep in mind that when you activate the Dragulabon, it locks you out from special summoning from the extra deck. So again, you still have the ability to pretty much produce power play monsters, but you also got to mind that this is going to be the only card that can attack as well. So it gives you the best defensive and offensive option. If you don't want to play this engine, by all means you can take it out. You can put in a more synchro heavy engine. You can put in rank 7s, like I said, off the back of the normal beasts of your Ursarctics, and of course off of the sticky string Kaiju as well. You could also put a Raijin in as well of the Kaijus, but that's entirely up to you on your personal preference. The Kaijus that I've kind of used for, I've gone with the big boss monster in the Thunder Kaiju, Gamma Seals as the lower weakest ones and their waters, and then of course you've got your sticky string Kaiju as a level 7, and then your Gadala just to get rid of the wind barrier statue. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for the Ursarctic profile. Like I said at the start, if you would like to see more from this day, if you want to see test hands or a duel, all you've got to do is smash that like button and get it up to at least 50 likes, and I'll be more than happy to produce that video for you. But with all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Until next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling!
Show yourself, Obelisk the Tormentor!
Shadow game as I call your name, Winged Dragon of Ra! I summon the almighty Slifer, the Sky Dragon!